Press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from News Laundry.
Our gross domestic product growth is down in the dumps. India has recorded the worst drop in GDP growth in its history last quarter, which is between the months of April and June 2020. The growth rate of these 3 months was recorded at a crazy minus 23.9%. Of course, this period precisely coincides with the coronavirus lockdown and proves that it had a major impact on the economic activity in India. Not that surprising. Or, as our finance minister put it, it was an act of God. What to do only? Sometimes I feel, madam, that you are also an act of God, but your God is different. Anyway, now we are in a situation where we need to understand what this GDP figure really means and how it affects you and me. More importantly, can the government do anything at all to fix this situation we are in? Well, let's break it down, shall we? First up, let me quickly tell you what GDP or gross domestic product is. GDP is a measure of the total value of goods produced and services provided in the country during a set period of time. Imagine India as a gigantic mall. If you want to buy bangan and go to the counter to swipe the price tag and then pay it, then you are adding to the GDP of the mall. If you are buying bangan ka bharta in a restaurant in the mall, you are adding more to the GDP of the mall because cooked bharta is more expensive than just the bangan itself. That beep which you hear at the counter before paying for the product, that is the GDP being recorded. So, in order to get the GDP of a country, you have to add 4 things. 1. Private spending. This includes not just physical goods but also services. Government spending. Yes, anything that the government spends also gets included in the GDP. Investments and total exports. Then you have to remove the imports and boom, a wild GDP figure appears. Now to look at the GDP growth, comparisons need to be made. For instance, after the GDP of the first quarter of 2020 this year was compared with the GDP of the first quarter of 2019 last year, it was found that there was a drop of 23.9%, which everyone is going bonkers about. So what did you expect, da? During the lockdown, the government had to spend so much money on poor people, to feed poor people, to shelter poor people, to poor people, poor people, poor people. How will the GDP go up? GDP hai bhaiya, Ram Mandir nahi hai. Okay man, calm down. Here's the interesting thing, as I pointed out earlier, government spending is also a part of the overall GDP calculation. Government spending has formed 8 to 13% of the overall economy for the past few years. From April to June this year, it reached around 18.1% of the GDP, the highest in more than 19 years. If you remove that from the equation, then our GDP growth has actually dropped to a crazy 29.3%, negative. If we do a sector-wise breakdown, all key sectors except agriculture witnessed contractions. Construction witnessed a drop of 50.3%, manufacturing saw a drop of 39.3%, electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services saw a drop of 7%. Trade, hotels, transport, communications and services related to broadcasting contracted by 47%. Again, only the agriculture, forestry and fishing industry witnessed a growth of 3.4% in the June quarter. So yeah, it's bad. But it did not come as a surprise really. During these months, India's lockdown was the most stringent in the world. In a stringency index created by the University of Oxford, India's first lockdown in April scored 100, which is the highest possible value. Essentially, everything except essential services was shut down. Supply chains broke down and the result is before us to see. What's more, the economic slowdown was only accelerated by the lockdown. Even before this pandemic hit us, the economic situation of India was not exactly looking peachy. The decline actually started in 2018 and we here now, boys. So all this sounds doomy and gloomy, but is there anything the government can do about this? To be perfectly honest, even our all-powerful government is struggling at the moment. Let me throw another indicator at you, the debt to GDP ratio. The debt to GDP ratio is the ratio between a country's government debt and its gross domestic product. If the GDP is higher than the debt, it means sab changa si. It means that the country is producing enough goods and services to pay off existing debts and not accumulate more. If it's the other way around, where the debt is more than the GDP, then it means the country is not doing well economically. Investors look at this ratio to evaluate the government's ability to manage the economy and fund its debt. According to a World Bank report, if the debt to GDP ratio of a country exceeds 77% for a prolonged duration, it is a straight up indicator that the economy is slowing down. The EcoRap report published by State Bank of India said that India's debt to GDP ratio is estimated to go up and touch 170 trillion rupees, which comes to 87.6%. If this keeps increasing, which it is likely to, then we will sink deeper and deeper into the bogs of economic slowdown. Estimates indicate that this number is likely to go up to 91.3% by 2022. Just as a comparison, our debt to GDP ratio was 70% in 2018 when the growth started dipping. So why did I bore you with all of these indicators? Well, allow me to explain the entire thing by going back to the mall example. Remember when you ate Bengan ka bharta at that fancy restaurant and added to the GDP? Congrats. Yeah, not everyone can do that. That's where the government steps in. Imagine the government spending money in a mall to feed people in the mall who are not able to buy Bengan ka bharta or even a Bengan to make a bharta themselves. The money they are spending is coming from taxes that you paid, that we all paid. When you bought that Bengan ka bharta, a tiny portion of that went to the government as indirect tax. But our mall is currently hit by a pandemic. So the number of people buying this stuff has gone down drastically, which means government is getting less tax money. Now, whether the government has money or does not have money, they still have to ensure that people are fed and have their basic needs. Otherwise, what's the point of even having a government? Anyway, so since there is way less income from taxes, the government borrows money from the markets by issuing treasury bonds. They also borrow money from other sources like International Monetary Fund and foreign governments. To keep it simple, let's just say that this is money that the government has to pay back at some point of time with interest. Now, the more they borrow, the more they'll have to spend on paying back the basic amount and interest at a future date. So when the future date comes and they don't have enough money, they will just borrow more because the spending never stops, especially during a pandemic where people need more help from the government than ever. If the government spends money repaying the debt, then they will have less money to spend on the people at large. You get the drift? If you don't get it, the drift is that the government doesn't have money, and whatever money it has borrowed money which will have to be repaid in the future one way or another. So we are screwed. As coronavirus cases continue to rise, as India keeps setting new records on a daily basis, know that things are about to get worse. This economic shock to our system is going to take a long time to recover from. If these truth bombs are too depressing and scary for you, do what Rahul Shivshankar does. Live in denial.
I want to place on record my deep disgust with the fact that on a day when our GDP has contracted 23.9%, on a day when China has
Dr. Sumansi Raman, you don't have to be part of this debate if you find it so disgusting. You know, look, hang on. You don't need to be part of this debate if you find it so disgusting. Go read the morning newspapers, and I recommend the Times of India. Go read it. Go read it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste the nation's time. Don't waste the viewers' time. Don't waste my time.